You know that statement that everyone says, you have to love yourself before anyone else can love you? Well, there is some truth to that, but thinking positively and saying all these affirmations sometimes isn't enough. So I'm going to share with you 5 tips that are really important to helping you actually build self-worth and self-love. And for more tips on how to take charge of your love life, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. This topic hits home with me because growing up as a child, I really struggled with self-worth, and it manifested into my relationships as an adult, and I had struggles at home with my parents. I wasn't conditioned to actually value myself. My parents did the best that they could do with what they were given. However, I was conditioned to earn love, that I had to prove myself to be rewarded. So self-worth came at the last part of, the totem pole. And for me, I had to learn how to develop self-worth, and I struggle with it from time to time. I'm human, because our habits, they continue to be our habits until we reflect, we understand them, we become self-aware, and then we can actually change the habits. The first part of self-love is learning to have self-acceptance. Listen, we don't honor our strengths enough. We always look at our weaknesses and pinpoint, all our failures when there's 20,000 things that we're doing right. For example, I might be good at public speaking, but when it comes to group interactions, I might freak out and have a panic attack or an anxiety attack. But that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person, that I'm not good enough. Actually, what that means is that, there are parts of me that I have strengths and there are parts that I have weaknesses. And it doesn't mean that I can't learn and develop those areas. And it doesn't mean that I failed, right? Maybe I wasn't exposed to group conversations and connections growing up, and I don't know what that looks like. That's something that I can actually go and expose myself now as an adult to learn those tools. So it's important for you to realize your family dynamic and what you grew up in, what you were exposed to, play a big part on your skill sets as an adult now. So be compassionate to yourself. If you see strengths, that's awesome. I want you to celebrate your strengths. And if you see weaknesses, I want you to celebrate your weaknesses, because all of you is good, even the parts that are imperfect. Another powerful thing to know is that you need to reparent your inner child. A lot of us grew up in homes with dysfunction. And when I say dysfunction, it could look like 2 parts. One is straight chaos, screaming, yelling, where your parents are always fighting, and then they never come to a resolution, right? You never see, the problem being fixed. It's just swept under the rug and then not dealt with again, right? Or the other home that I see quite often is where you're not allowed to show your feelings. You're not allowed to express yourself. And with those children, I've seen them actually have a hard time being vulnerable and taking risks in life, because they were taught that you can't face your emotions, you can't feel, it's bad to feel, right? So as an adult, when you use those same tools, because again, we tend to use the tools that we are exposed to, right? Growing up, we use the same tools as an adult, it doesn't work for us. That's why our relationships become tumultuous. It only reaches a certain level, and then either it's fight or flight or freeze. So in order to move past that, you actually have to soothe your inner child. One of the exercises I do with my clients is I have them close their eyes, and I have them remember their little child, the inner child that was so frightened, was so insecure, that was struggling. And I have them come in as an adult and be the compassionate parent that they always wanted from their own parents, right? And comfort them. And I'm like, tell me what the little child wants. What is she saying? And usually it's, I just want to be loved. I want to feel enough. I feel so insecure. I'm scared. And then I ask for them to enter in as their older self, their adult self. And what compassionate words can they say to that child? And it goes like this, I want you to know you are safe. I have your back. You have nothing to worry about. I'm the adult here now. and you don't have to run the show anymore. I know you tried to keep me safe because of your fear, but I have more critical thinking as an adult, and I'm here to protect you and keep you safe. You can trust me. And that inner child, when she hears that, the intensity and the frustration and the anxiety just dissipate. So I'd like for you to learn how to reparent your inner child, going in and talking to your child self in a compassionate and loving way, the way you wanted to hear your parents do for you. The third thing that will help you boost your self-worth is to change your narrative. What you say to yourself is what you believe in yourself. So anything that you put after I am becomes your truth. So let me give you an example. When I make a mistake, sometimes I'll catch myself. I'll say things like, oh my gosh, Amie, you're so dumb. Why did you do that? You made that mistake again. Then I change the narrative and I'm like, how can I be compassionate to myself in this situation? And the first thing I say is, Amie, this is a mistake that many people have made. What is the learning lesson here? And how can you develop a skill set so that you can actually move through this and not repeat it again? Two things that happened there. I connected myself with a common thread with humanity, right? That I'm no better, no less than anyone else, that I'm having a human experience. The second thing that happened there is I developed the ability to learn and create a solution. So that way I don't repeat the same mistake over and over again. Each of these moments that you catch yourself making a mistake, it's actually a way for you to grow. So look at it as an exciting opportunity to help you develop to your best self. My fourth tip for you to build self-worth is to compliment yourself. That's right. I know those of you that are like, oh my gosh, I'm all about humility. This feels so uncomfortable and so cocky for me to compliment myself. Honestly, when it comes to self-worth, if you struggle with it, your self-worth bucket is so low and empty that you need to compliment yourself to fill yourself back up, all right? Just so that you can actually feel confident in yourself. So here's how it works though. I don't want you to compliment yourself by just saying, oh my gosh, you're skinny, you're hot, like none of those superficial things, okay? So I want you to focus on the core values that you really appreciate about yourself and back it up with some facts. And if you don't have any facts to back it up with, there may be some self-reflection and work you need to do so that you can actually make it factual. So if you believe that you're a thoughtful person and you haven't done any thoughtful acts, then ask yourself, what are certain things that you can do today that could be thoughtful to your friends, family, or people you're surrounded with? The more that you focus on your strengths and your core values, you will see your confidence start boosting because you're living in line with who you truly are, your genuine self. And the fifth thing that I think you're going to laugh and think this is so weird to even say is, celebrate your flaws. That's right. I think we chop ourselves down so low when we diminish that these flaws are just part of us. You know, we are good and bad parts. That doesn't make us a horrible person. It just makes us human. So the goal here is to accept and embrace the areas that you're ashamed of. You've heard the statement, what you resist persists. Well, if you don't face your flaws, if you don't face the problems, then there's nothing to actually work on and develop and grow, and it will persist. So embracing and celebrating your flaws allows you, for example, if you struggle with social anxiety, there's actually books and tools and, workshops that I actually provide my clients to help them build, a better connection with people. So you can learn it. But if you don't look within and you keep burying everything, then you can't actually develop and grow in those areas, and they will persist, and you will continue to shame yourself rather than really develop and embrace and love yourself, wholeheartedly. Before you engage in all these acts of building self-worth, you need to have a lot of self-care, because when you're building self-worth and you're looking at a lot of areas that you feel insecure about, frustrated about yourself, it may trigger a lot of emotions. And so you want to make sure that you are getting enough sleep, eating well, getting physical exercise, like really making sure that your body is balanced so that you can carry the load of emotions that are about to come in. And again, if you need more support, that's what I'm here for. You know, go to my website, amiethedatingcoach.com. I have programs and workshops that can help you really delve in a safe way so that you don't have to do this alone. Now, I want to hear from you. What are you struggling with when it comes to self-worth? Please leave your comments, questions, thoughts below. I do reply. And again, I thank you so much for coming here, watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.